Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Firefighters Podcast, where we seek to develop, inspire, and motivate the world of the emergency services operator through a series of wide-ranging conversations. Now, before we go any further, just hit that rate, follow, or subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to. It's a key performance indicator for us and helps us reach even more people. Now, here's what we've got for you today. What are the main things you want to cover as part of our conversation today? And what things you absolutely don't want to cover?
I don't think there's many things that I don't particularly want to cover.
I'm not going to ask you your thoughts on Ukraine, don't worry.
Yeah.
Tell me what you really think of religion.
Is there a God?
Is there a God? Eh? Are you pro-abortion or not?
What shape is the world?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is flat though.
It is difficult. It is difficult.
No, sort of key takeaways from your trips.
Definitely, yeah.
We
Definitely
want to talk about Tactical Firefighting Group.
Tactical Firefighting Group, I can imagine a lot of people be quite interested in, particularly the seminar. How all these threads actually came together is, I think, relatively interesting.
Mm-hmm. It all intertwines.
I could kind of see it snaking in front of us already, to be honest. Like a really complicated DNA strand.
Exactly.
Yeah, and doesn't that really just describe UK fire service?
Yeah, complicated versus complex. Yeah, I think it is very complex with all the human intertwine and stuff. Right, should we make a start for it then? Welcome back to another episode of the Firefighters Podcast, where we're exploring the people, the problems, and the progress shaping the fire and rescue sector across the world. Today's guest is someone whose name carries serious weight now in the world of firefighting and tactical firefighting, especially in the UK. That's Dave Berry. Dave is a tactical firefighting training lead at Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service. With over 25 years of frontline experience, Dave has trained operational crews from places like Lancashire, Manchester, Macedonia, and Montenegro. He's a fire behaviour specialist, a highly experienced technician, educator, and lifelong student of the craft. He's trained all around the world and learned shoulder to shoulder with some of the most respected fire behaviour experts out there, many of whom you've already heard on this podcast. He's also one of the founding voices behind Tactical Firefighting UK, a collaborative group helping shape and strengthen tactical firefighting practice across the UK and beyond. But beyond all that, Dave is a good friend, someone I've shared a few really cool experiences and adventures with already, and someone I hope to share many more in the future. This episode is part of a two-part conversation designed for those who are serious about the development in the role of firefighting. It's built for you to pick apart, to revisit, to digest, so these concepts can be embedded, applied, and ultimately shared with others on the job. In this first installment, we're going to dive into the fundamentals of tactical firefighting, Dave's experiences delivering training in Macedonia, what that project is all about, the importance of personal agency in high-pressure environments, core skills, like engine control, tactical ventilation, and managing flow rates. We're going to speak about the BA shuffle in a few of our conversations. We're going to speak about decision making through the quadrant model across these two conversations. And also, we're going to talk about the bigger picture, regional collaboration, national best practice, and the ongoing tension between evolution versus revolution. This episode is for the notebook carriers, the students of the job, and the ones who want to become comprehensive, competent, and credible practitioners. Let's get in there with Dave. I'll see you on the other side. How was Macedonia?
Yes, it was absolutely amazing. It really
How long were
was.
we out there for?
I did 11 days. Myself and Paul Leonard, one of the trainers on our pumps, we both did 11 days. One of the other trainers, Andy Loxamy, came out for a week. And then when he left, our ACFO, Barry Moore, came out, group manager, Steve Jordan, and a gentleman called Alan Henson, an ex-chief. He
Got the names in there straight away, make sure everyone gets it recognised. I know, you're really good for that. What? Take us back. Why on earth were you out there? Connect the dots for me.
Oh, I'll take you way back.
Way back?
Yeah, I'll take you way back to when Florian...
When you were born?
Yeah.
It was a quiet evening when Mr. and Mrs. Berry...
I think it was rainy, actually.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, I'll take you back to my first sort of experience with Operation Florian. So I'd just done a stint as a trainer. I came into training in 2009. Very excited in 2014 to go out as a crew manager, do my first stint in charge. Not in charge, but as a crew manager. And my first watch manager was Steve Jordan, who I've just mentioned. When I get to station, what you normally expect when you get to a fire station, sort of your first stint, as it were, is a welcome to the station. Here's this, here's that. That's your locker, all that kind of stuff. And I think Steve quite likes this story. Steve met me and said, "Dude, you're a trainer." And I'm like, yep. He says, do you want to go to Macedonia? I'm like, pleased to meet you, Steve. My name's Dave. but Steve's very, very good like that. So Steve is very, very keen.
I think I've met Steve.
I would hope so.
I feel like I have. I had so many interweaving bits with Ops Florian, and there's so many people who have been involved with that. Many retired now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not unfortunately, but like the ones who were early days in the beginning are now old hands in the shaping of probably where we're going, not like Steve.
Yeah. Well, Steve knew that at the time we just introduced tactical ventilation here in Manchester. So fresh off the back of that, I was hitting station to get some command experience, etc. Touch base with the real job again, stop smoke dodging, as I was told. So Steve said, do you want to go out to Macedonia? Do you want to go out there and teach them some of the tactical firefighting stuff you've done? Because one of the other trainers you've worked with, some of the other trainers that you've worked with have done a bit out there. You can go out with them. So I'm like, well, why not?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, absolutely.
I think a lot of people say no to stuff they don't really know what they're saying no to.
There's a wonderful book
say yes to stuff
called Yes Man.
Yeah, going to a film, wasn't it? When Jim Carrey film.
Yeah. I mean, the film varies massively from the book. The book is excellent.
It's a bit exaggerated, the book is. The film, sorry.
It is. I mean, to be honest, if you read the book, you think the book might be a bit exaggerated. And yet, on the drive in this morning, I'm listening to Danny Wallace on the radio, and none of the things that has happened to him would have happened if he hadn't had the experience in his life where he started saying yes to things. So, I thought, I'll do that. Yeah, I will go out there. I will do that. And you go out there and you meet these people.
Why do you think people don't say yes to stuff? I don't want to jump past that because this is going to be a big thing.
Fear, absolute fear.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've been that person. Yeah, fear of the unknown. The unknown is probably the scariest thing there is because you don't know what it is. You know, I could have said no for so many reasons. I could have said, no, the area has a history of conflict and I'm worried about the conflict. No, because I don't really trust the things that I've been teaching for the last 5 years.
I was about to say it's more the latter. I think people are scared of looking stupid. Not because they don't know what they're on about, because they maybe don't feel confident in it, or the dots don't connect with what they've been taught and what they've seen and observed in the thing, and they don't maybe have a sense of confidence in what they're going to go out there to teach. Again, not that they are a bad trainer or teacher or instructor, but they don't want to get caught out. They don't want to embarrass themselves. We don't want to lose face.
You're absolutely right.
But I would say within the Fire and Rescue Service, pride is like, it's one of our greatest strengths. We should be proud of the thing we do. But it also can be a big barrier to stopping us from doing different things or new things. Do you know what I mean? Because everything's always changing, it's going to be a big part of our conversation today. But when you acknowledge that something's changed and maybe the old thing doesn't fit anymore, if you look at that in a pessimistic lens, some people can take it as an accusation that what you were doing before was wrong, Dave.
Yes.
And you go, no, you just made a leap there. I didn't say you didn't know what you were doing. I didn't say what you were doing was wrong. For that time and that place, with the knowledge you had and the information and the research, gold standard.
Yep.
But if we'd have known better, we'd have done better. Sorry, but I feel like you're so right. People, they fear falling off this tightrope, and then when one day they fall, they realise it's 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Or I remember someone saying, like, fear is like an ocean. It's a mile wide, but it's an inch deep. Yeah. You think you're going to drown in it, you won't. It's just a puddle. You'll be fine. No one's going to die.
It's okay to be wrong.
It's okay.
It's absolutely fine to be wrong. And it took me, as an individual, as a trainer, a long time to come to grips with that.
This episode is brought to you in partnership with Godiva Limited. Godiva is one of the world's leading providers of specialist equipment for emergency services market. Godiva produces a comprehensive range of fire pumps, including vehicle-mounted, portable, and their cutting-edge integrated total water flow control system, SAMFlows. I've been using Godiva my entire career as a reliable pump on the fire ground. It is such a crucial element of a successful firefighting team that you want to empower your crews with the very best, reliable, quality product. Reach out to our partners by checking the notes in the podcast. Now back to the show.
When I came back into this job, we'll go back to the Macedonia thing in a minute, but when I first came back as the head of BA, as it was called at the time, head of BA training, what my team were teaching totally contradicted the things that I'd been teaching 5 years earlier, because we were teaching transitional attack, throwing a jet through a window. Yeah. We'd just done tactical ventilation when I finished, and we had a video with firefighters putting a jet through a window, and there was me saying, oh, we don't do that, that's wrong, that's dangerous. So my trainers are doing this, and they're quite worried because they're thinking, we're going to get shut
Well,
down.
told
Here.
everybody, yeah.
So I went down.
Just delivered this to 600 staff, though.
This is it, yeah. So in I come and I'm, no, you can't be teaching this. But the thing is that I like, certainly about my role, the support network that I've got is, it's all evidence-based. So I said to the trainers, I know you're worried, I know that, because I've come in and I used to teach completely different things to you. Show me the science. Show it me. Show me what you're doing and show me why. And they did. And I turned around and I just said, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. The thing that I was teaching at the time was correct in certain parameters, but I didn't know enough, and we didn't know enough to be able to say that what I was teaching was 100% accurate. It was about 50% accurate. So what we were teaching, long story short, transitional attack, narrow jet, don't move it, nice and steep, hit the ceiling. You're creating the hydraulic ventilation in the room. If you have it on spray, you create the hydraulic ventilation out of the room, and therefore you're ventilating the fire. It was a great way that I could turn and say, well, actually, we're both right.
Just so we can keep everybody with us in terms of maybe new recruits that are listening. So when we talk about the difference there, so we're talking about throwing it through an opening like this, and a cone or a wider jet will hit all of it and draw air in, whereas a narrow one would dissipate across the ceiling.
That's it.
Barrier coil and all that sort of stuff. So how
does it work?
How is it working? That is the drawing air in from the external. But you're right. Research. We, the royal we don't do a lot of research. I think it's a capacity thing, not a desire thing. I think there's a lot of desire and a lot of interest. It's also a privilege of size sometimes. So at Manchester here, there's a lot more research going on. There's a lot more critical thinking going on.
Definitely.
Smaller organisations, less so. Again, not because they don't care, not because they're apathy or anything like that. It's capacity. It's capacity for a lot of them. But a lot of the stuff that you, and certainly myself as well, we were teaching when we first came into it, was sort of an echo, I think, of some research that had gone on other places around the world. It's a little bit like some research has gone on next door and we've heard it through the wall.
Yes.
And we've gone, I caught a bit of that.
Yeah.
We're going to do this. It's called pulsing. It's called this. It's called gas cooling. It's called whatever. And then we've sometimes taken a bit of it and ran again with the best of intentions. So forgive me for interrupting. Cycle us back. So you came back into the training department after, in fact, no, take me all the way back. Macedonia.
Yeah, back to Macedonia.
So you got introduced to Steve.
Yeah,
you went out for the first time.
Yeah, so he was my watch manager. We went out with some of the trainers I'd worked with in the past. We went out there, delivered tactical ventilation. We did, I think it was Tetavol was the first station. So I met Avni, who's now the chief there actually, and Boban. And we delivered Boban, yeah, B-O-B-A-N.
I'll stop myself there. Carry on. There's a nickname somewhere. Carry on.
Yeah. Really, really, really good guys, like keen. They've got...
What's the language barrier like? What do they speak in Macedonia?
So there is Albanian, Macedonian, there's a variety of Balkan languages out there. Okay. Yeah. And particularly the younger end speak quite good English.
Why do you think, zoom out for a second, it's a real elitist thing that we expect everyone around the world to speak English?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And they say, it's the language of business, it's the language of trade. Yeah, 90 years ago, England is very small. We've sacrificed a lot of our land back to everybody else, rightly so. We took a lot of it maybe as we shouldn't have, I don't know, we're not going to get into that. But we still expect everybody to speak English. And a lot of them do, very kindly. How ignorant are we? How many languages do you speak?
Me, I just speak relatively poor English.
That's
about it.
I speak a little bit of French. My parents got a place over there, and I'm learning sign language. But let's be honest, I speak English. I don't speak anything else. I couldn't order food in sign language. I couldn't order food in French either. No. But it's so kind of them, isn't it?
It really is.
They just seem to, we expect it and they do it. But anyway, so...
Yeah. I think it's an element of, it's the language of the sea. So we did maritime training recently. So everyone that's involved in the maritime industry, there's an expectation that you have a minimum amount of English. And I think that's a hangover.
Is that because a lot of the naval stuff was all written? Policies and procedures and training manuals were probably written in. We were good at that stuff. And even with fire service, a lot of our stuff from Massey Shaw's days and everything like that, we were good at writing all the stuff down. So a lot of people took it and copied it. And
I think that's the other element as well, that if you do want to learn, there's probably more materials available to you in English, whether it be video, whether it be documents. There's probably more available to you in English than probably any other language, and it's
Well, half the Eurovision was in English.
yeah.
How ridiculous is that? My missus made me watch it, but you're like, all the songs are in English.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress. So no massive language barrier when you went over.
No, we do tend to have assistance with interpretation. I send any of the training materials across, and they get translated for the students as well. But when it comes to the actual delivery, what was good is having gone 10 years ago and having gone now, Avi and Boban picked up all that training then. And certainly this time when we did some of the fire behaviour stuff, Boban was delivering it on my behalf. I didn't even need to step in and do a great deal. I just stand back a little bit. The beauty of flooring for me is you get to go out there and experience how different things are, and yet how exactly the same things are. You know, I don't need to know what some of the people are actually saying to know that there's a little bit of a laugh and a giggle and a joke going on. You know, and I can see people pointing at things. You know, that's the interface. That's the nutrient. You can pick that up, and it's really
Well, that's the language of physics and chemistry, isn't it? Because I was going to say, when you said earlier about data, it's one of my favourite things from Carol Lambert, isn't it? Where he's like, we're very romantic about this, but the unfortunate reality is it's chemistry and physics.
Yes,
that is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, we can get all nuanced about it,
and that's what it is.
But we need to base it on facts, and it is chemistry and physics and how we interplay with those two elements of the universe, isn't it?
And I think that personally is probably the best thing for the fire service, that our fundamental truths of firefighting are built on something that we cannot break or change.
No.
Science is science, and
we can manipulate it and learn to work with it.
Exactly.
But it is what it is, and it's innocent.
Yeah.
I think it was there's a thing called Churchillian drift where people misattribute quotes to Churchill, but I think it was for the Churchill one where it was like, malice may attack it and ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is, and it's truth.
Yeah.
And I love that about facts and science, because they say science progresses one funeral at a time. And I think about that sometimes in the fire service, not a funeral, but a retirement at a time. Yeah. If someone's been very passionate about tactical ventilation or a Cobra system or a whatever, do you know what I mean? And that will be the way we're going to do CAFs until I retire.
Yeah.
That'll be what we're doing. It's the magic answer to everything. And again, that particular thing does have its advantages. But I think if we have the humility to look at these things in the cold light of day as physics, chemistry, measured, do you know what I mean? Temperature probes, standardized experiments, like the stuff I was over doing in Netherlands. You go, wow, they're very. I didn't feel any egos over there. Even you spent a lot of time with Ricardo, and much of his team are exactly the same as him in the mentality. They're very good at not getting stuck in their own unconscious bias. They seem like playful children. So like, we're going to do it like this, and it'll be what it'll be. There was no manipulation or trying to suit figures to fix facts. You know what I mean? There was none of that in there.
Yeah.
So what were they teaching over there in Macedonia? In fact, tell me all the way about, what did you get taught when you first joined?
In regards
Tactical
to tactical firefighting?
Yep.
Very little.
Did you join here?
I joined originally retained as it was in 1999.
I did that for 10 years, start off with.
Yeah, Oswald was my first station many, many years ago. And there is actually quite an interesting story that I do use in the classroom. I think it's interesting. I'm sure there's people who tell me it's not. But I remember one of the first things I was taught, and this is one of the things that stuck with me, that makes me question training, makes me question why are we doing it. It underlines why things have got to be evidence-based. So 1999, I will have been 19 at the time, and we went on a crew refresher to Washington Hall, and not long before that we'd had Blainer and Leo Supermarket, so fire behaviour was sort of the big topic that we were all discussing at the time. Gas cooling, things like that were just starting.
So people that don't know those ones, so Leo's Supermarket is where we see the origin of the young lady's name.
Fleur
Lombard.
Yep.
So when people see a Fleur Lombard bursary, you can access them as a bursary. That all came off the back of Leo's Supermarket. She got stuck in there, partner went out, not maliciously. She got lost down one of the aisles. And then Blainer was hose drill in the doorway.
Yes.
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 So fire downstairs, delayed backdraft upstairs.
Yeah.
Closed the door, trapped the hose reel. Team had to come out the window, I think it was.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion. Was it a delayed backdraft? Was it a fire gas?
I think it burnt
ignition?
through the floor. And again, it's so hot because you went in there. They were in there.
It was a rapid fire phenomenon.
Yes.
What it was is less important than
True.
Understanding how it occurred.
True.
And then how you prevent that in the future.
But anyway, this was off the back of those, sorry.
Yeah,
Just to give people some there's episodes on both of those.
Yeah, and backdraft and flashover are terms that firefighters are now starting to become a lot more familiar with in those days. So I joined very much at the birth of this movement towards gas cooling, etc. We moved from the trigger branches to the hose reel. I think it was the Delta hose reel branch that we got first. And that's what this session was about, the Delta hose reel branch. So I recall being on a car park down there with a trainer. And I will stress, the trainer is teaching to the best of the trainer's knowledge and understanding. There's never any desire from a trainer to think, I'm going to hoodwink people here. I'm just going to, we were learning as best as we could. And we were handed this hose reel and we're all, this is nice, this is fancy, instead of the big trigger thing that we used to have with the little sort of twist there. No, this is that looks very American. Yeah, we're in favour of this. We love this. Yeah. Right. So the first thing that we were told, and this is one of the first, if we're familiar with the term training scar or training wound, whatever you want to call it, but this is one of the first times I recall looking back thinking, if you put it on the click setting, that's the magic setting for backdraft and flashover. That's kind of what we were told at the time.
So was a click a 30-degree cone?
30 degree, yeah. Right. And basically the 30 degree, as far as I understand it, I haven't looked into it, and what I've been told since is the 30 degree is the angle at which if you were to hit a fuse box with it, it shouldn't affect you.
I love speaking to people like Akron and a few others. There's lots of brands out there. What they think it is.
Yeah.
Because because they have to base it on science. There has to be data behind their sheet. We can play with things and go, I like this setting for this, I like this setting for that. But theirs will actually have a manufactural justification as to that setting. So from your work, they're saying something about if you hit it with hit a fuse box with that. Yeah,
that's something we've been told a few times. It does sound a lot more plausible than a magic setting, to be fair. The thing I know for definite, and what we certainly teach our crews is, that is if you cannot see, you know what setting your branch is on.
It's your reset point.
That's it. You know what setting your branch is on.
Listen to it, and then if you go this way, you know where you are.
Yeah.
You know it's stuck on flush and you're messing about, just click, right, there I am. That's what the shark's in for.
So we know definitively, in the dark, that's what that setting is.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's the perfect setting for backdraft and flashover. So that sticks with you for a career, for lots of firefighters' careers. You think, all right, well, stick it on that, don't move. Yeah. Don't deviate from that.
It's unlikely I'm going to get criticised if I'm using it on that setting. And whether or not the application is right or my ability to interpret the environment and adapt to it's right, no one's going to criticise me being on that.
And isn't that a powerful statement in training?
Yeah.
The thing that I've picked up from that training isn't based on evidence, but as long as I stick to that, I've done everything that's expected of me. So we did that. The next thing we're told is if you see a backdraft coming,
down the hallway.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So there's
creeping now.
There's the second thing. Simply tell the crew. So don't worry with. Look, there's a backdraft coming.
Yeah. We're not saying this specific. This sounds like we're belittling. We're not condescending to other people. But yeah, this is.
It was 26 years ago. This.
Yeah.
Things.
You can see a tsunami coming.
Yeah.
But. Not necessarily. Again, we'll get into indicators and all that sort of stuff in a minute. Yeah. But if you can see one coming,
so you see the backdraft. I mean, to be honest, if you see the backdraft coming, it's got you. But in those days, the backdraft is coming. Right? No problem. Get yourself onto the 30 degree, onto the magic setting. Tell the team, and on the whatever shout it is you give now or whatever, you would get down on the floor. You turn the branch on, roll over, and have it go over your head, and then stand back up, dust yourself down. Brilliant. Move on.
And had they watched Backdraft just immediately before this?
And that's the thing, is it's a very Hollywood kind of feel to it, isn't it? Which suggests that at the time we didn't know enough about the phenomena. We didn't know enough about the science. We did not at all.
I wonder if this goes way far back. I'm going to interrupt you for a second, but it's a joke I always say about, and again, I'm going to start with the big caveat, There's a lot of intelligent, really brilliant people in the fire service. I think that's by accident, though, not by design.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky to have those people because, not that a degree makes you super intelligent, but a degree suggests you can assimilate a lot of knowledge. Universities make a lot of money selling degrees. I've not got a degree. Sister has, she's very intelligent. You need a degree to get into the ambulance service. You need a degree to get into the police.
Yeah.
Don't need a degree to get into the fire service, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But ergo, sometimes what university can teach you, from my limited interpretations, does teach you good critical thinking, teaches you, here's a big book of words, learn it all, and then interpret it into this answer and get good at doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our job naturally attracts more kinesthetic learners. We like to see and touch and lick everything in the fridge, and I want to feel it, and I want to be in a job that's more physical. So that would automatically get you less academic people. But then I think that maybe, if we just follow that long thread back to where we are, you can end up with a lot of romanticisms. Like, my dad was in the building trade for 40-something years. He's a very smart bloke, but he's never been academic. So you would get a lot of people in the business trade who could describe how something should look and how it should feel, and when they're doing all the different jobs, and they can just eyeball stuff, and sometimes for better and worse, and go, it doesn't look right, doesn't feel right. But a lot of it wasn't supported, it wasn't really written down. And I know you could sit in guilds, you could do courses in building and stuff like that, but similar to firefighting, and maybe this leads to the wide spectrum of different policies and training methods that we came into and still probably exist now. There's a lot of romanticism, there's a lot of nuances, there's a lot of only in this situation, there's a lot of caveats and beliefs that aren't necessarily supported by the data. Doesn't mean they don't work in certain situations, because in certain situations they're perfect, but in a lot of situations they don't work. So you were given this backdraft, roll, watch the fire dragon go above you. Yeah. When it passes, crack on.
We're all good, we're all good. I mean, at no point did anyone doing the training think to themselves, but hang on, I'm wearing a BA set when this happens, so I can't roll over.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Gore-Tex Professional Fabrics. Now, we all know the working environment of a firefighter is filled with challenges. We face serious risks on the job, such as heat exhaustion, burns, physical and mental stress, and we frequently come into contact with high levels of toxic chemicals. Now, I have been wearing Gore-Tex for nearly 2 decades on the front line, working in hostile environments, tackling challenging incidents from firefighting to water incidents and in urban search and rescue environments. Gore-Tex have a well-earned reputation for protecting professionals in the fire and emergency services through their family of highly innovative, waterproof, breathable moisture barriers that exceeds global performance standards and are trusted worldwide. Gore-Tex, going further together. So you've got all these turtles on the floor going like this. Yeah. You're doing it wrong, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Barry.
And like we said, it's very easy to look back, criticise, and it is. But at the time, it felt right. None of us thought...
You're not going to question it.
Of course not. Of course not.
This person is saying it with such conviction.
Absolutely.
And they've been in for 20 years. For God's sake, I know who this person is. Lead BA instructor. God's sake.
That's it.
And look how I got in the job. They are God to me at this moment in time.
100%, 100%. And I wouldn't have dreamed of highlighting any of the questions, because I didn't even have any questions.
You don't even know what to question.
No.
That's the thing. I was speaking to my sister the other day about students, and she broke it down way better than me, and I'm going to really butcher it. She spoke about planned unlearning. She spoke about taking the student from where they are to where they're not. And I think one thing we do accidentally in the fire service sometimes is take a student from where they're not to where they're not. And what I mean by that is, you sit down day one, not that you do this or anyone, I'm about the people that do this. Right, we're going to start lesson 1 with physics.
Yeah.
I've already started from somewhere you're not.
Yeah.
Now, in your mind, you want to go, take me back to water is wet.
Yeah.
So, because I'm not stupid, but I've just come from an accounting company. I've just worked in the social sector. I'm a builder. I'm a personal trainer. I don't know physics. What do you mean, fall over gravity? Yeah, I know that bit. Take me to water is wet. And she was like, for students, and that's why we do they'll do tests after the years and stuff like that to see where a student's at and what their learning's at and stuff like that before they advance onto the next subject. Because you need to find the student where they are. You need to find them in the fog and take them to where you would like them to be, and it might take a long time to get there. But sometimes we take them from where they're not to where they're not and then wonder why they get lost along the way. So you need to go from 1 to 10, but if you start at 3 and they're at 1, you've lost them when you start.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think we need to remember that, myself included, because I say this as though I've done something right. I've not. This is all through doing it wrong. It's all through doing it wrong and going, are you stupid? Why don't you get it? And I've never said that to a student, but you think it sometimes, or I used to. And I'm like, it's really, really offensive and condescending because you didn't know anything back then, but you were, lifting weights and sticking needles in yourself. Well, what did you know? Life was a bin fire. Anyway.
That makes building training very difficult.
Yes.
It really, really does.
The diverse life experiences of people. Yeah, and that's what we want.
It's so hard to build a training course for. I mean, we had a discussion.
You've got 3 weeks. Off you go.
Yeah. I've got 1,300 people to teach a concept to.
Yeah.
Those 1,300 people, some have got degrees.
Yeah.
Some
have got doctorates.
Some left school relatively early because it just wasn't for them.
Some are stay-at-home mums.
Some maybe English isn't a first language.
Yeah.
We've got all these things to think about, but I've got to make a training package that hits everybody
in a really short period of time.
In a short period of time. So I've got to think, well, where do I start? Where do I pitch this? Where's the beginning point? And you're right. You've got to start at the very, very beginning. You've got to start as low down as you can. Mm-hmm. But then you start to alienate the people that sit there for an hour thinking,
this is boring.
Yeah, what am I
learning? I was going to learn something a bit more interesting.
Yeah, and it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult.
When does the fire bit start?
You've got to engage for as long as you can them individuals, and it can be so difficult because the pitch has got to be different for everybody. So that could be difficult. And again, going back to Macedonia, that could be difficult out there.
Oh, God, yeah. 10 times harder, I would imagine.
Yeah, and you've got to factor double the time in because potentially with the language barrier, there might be, I say a sentence, I wait for the sentence to be translated, mm-hmm. I then wait for the response, and then I wait for the response to be translated for me, and then I think, and then I do the response, and you can see this sort of transfer of information going backwards and forwards, and it can take some time. Mm-hmm. I also don't know what's the starting level out here.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to
because everyone's dressed like a firefighter.
Exactly. You don't want to insult people either by pitching it so low, and you don't want to lose people by pitching it too high. So it's a very, very difficult thing. Mm-hmm. It is a difficult thing in training.
Have you ever brought in teachers? Actual teachers?
So I know
because I've wanted to do this.
Yeah, so we do teaching qualifications trainers. So we do teaching education level 3. I think that's its current name.
Yeah.
When I did it, it was petals.
Yeah.
I've also looked in, my wife, ex-teacher. Mm-hmm. So she's quite happy to mark my work for me, which is good. Mm-hmm. We do have quite a lot of people here in particular who have a teaching background as well.
Petals is something adult learning, isn't it?
Yeah, preparing to teach in the lifelong learning sector.
That's what I said. Yeah. Not adults, isn't it? Anyway. Yeah, because these are adult students.
Yeah.
These are people in their latter years. We employ people up to their late 40s.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So we've got people from 18 who have just come straight out of school, so they're used to the tempo of learning in a class, right up to people that haven't been in a classroom for 20 years. They've been a manager at Sainsbury's. Do you know what I mean? And now they're coming over here and they're getting a lesson plan and homework.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's really, 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 because we get those instructor versus teacher. What do Manchester call the people that deliver training? Are they instructors?
Trainers.
Trainers.
Yeah.
Lovely in between.
Yeah, it is really, isn't it?
Because I think teachers maybe glorifies us a little bit, because I've seen what my missus and my sister do. I can do it. Teaching is hard, especially teaching children. Because there's almost a loco parentis element to it, and we have an obligation to the people that we train, but probably less parenting care from us because they are a functioning adult who probably drove here today. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a very different concept, isn't it? But trainers probably sits lovely.
I think we came away from the term instructors at a similar time as we came away from the term drill.
Okay.
Because drill's very much by the numbers. I don't need you to think.
Yeah.
I just need you to go out, muscle memory it.
Monkey see, monkey do.
That's it. Instruct. Bark the order. Well done. We do it till you know how to do it half asleep. Which sometimes in the fire service, that's a really, really useful skill. Mm-hmm. But we have learnt over the last 10, 15 years that maybe exercises are better, maybe scenarios are better, because that allows you to think a little bit about what you're doing. And there's always a good conversation to be had about at what point do you allow an individual on the fireground to think for themselves, because there is an element of, if I ask you to do the thing, I need you to do the thing, and I need to know that when I turn around, the thing's being done, so that when I turn back around, it's done. But there is also the point where you need the individual to look at what they're doing and think, actually, I've just spotted something that they weren't aware of.
Yeah. Have they got enough is their mental bandwidth totally absorbed with doing the task?
Yeah.
Or have they now, what's that 4-quadrant method? So there's
the
unconsciously incompetent.
Right, yes.
No, so there's
conscious competence.
Yeah, so no, there's consciously incompetent, which is, I know I definitely don't know this.
Yes.
You know, like you come into the service, I definitely know I don't know how to do it.
There's loads of things that I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is where most of the trainees, when they come here, that's where they sit.
Yeah. And then you start to move through, and I'm going to butcher my way through this, but then you eventually will become consciously competent.
Yes.
Where you know how to do it, and you can do it as long as that's the only thing you need to do.
Yeah.
Like a child making a cup of tea. It's a dangerous task, but as long as they're only focusing on that, they've got the drill, they understand how the concepts work, they know hot and don't touch and the method and the order in which to put everything in the cup. But that's all they've got capacity for. When I drove here today, I'm in unconscious competence, where I'm also speaking to Dave on the phone, turn left, turn right, message the missus, all, car changes lanes, all that sort of stuff. That's the point where we want.
That's where we
do
want
people
to be.
need to be there before they go on the run? I know I'm leaping all over the shop here.
I think the way we pitch,
because I want to go into the BA1, BA2 thing.
Yeah.
What does a safe to ride person do? I know we didn't plan about any of this for
I know, it's
but
fine.
It's all so zooming out again. The Tactical Firefighting group that we operate in a lot is a WhatsApp group. It's a community of really interesting, really driven, really passionate firefighter, all the way up to station or group manager. There's 1 or 2 in there, I think.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see different interpretations. We had a conversation, I mean, it jumps up all the time, but there was a bounce around the concept of safe to ride. I actually discussed it in the Netherlands recently about their BA1, BA2. Do they have such a thing? They don't, funnily enough. Without naming any services, I mean, what do we do here in Manchester? When I'm past my BA, I know I'm jumping ahead here, we'll come back again.
Okay.
What can't I do? Can I lead a BA team? Am I allowed to go out before I'm a leader and all that sort of jazz? Can I wear on the run before I'm a BA leader? Is there a difference?
Yeah, this changes from county to county as
it
well,
does.
doesn't it? And this is why I think there's such a need for a bit of standardisation nationally. But to give you an idea of what we do here, we run a.
And we're not saying this is perfect.
No. Well, I would defy anyone to tell me that anything I do or we do is perfect. It's I like what we do and I think it's good.
Yeah.
But I'm always open to better or an improvement.
You're known unknowns.
And I think that's a healthy way to be. But we do 4 weeks of BA.
Okay.
Or tactical firefighting. We do 4 weeks of that.
We'll get into the difference in a minute.
Oh yeah, that'll be good, won't it? So we do 4 weeks of this. We look at entry control. We look at being the BA word, the BA team leader. We look at branch handling, physiology, the psychological effects, all the things that make you, as far as we're concerned,
safe to operate in that environment.
Yeah. And we do teach team leader. We teach, that's part of the course. And the reason for that is,
as part of that initial 4 weeks?
As part of the initial 4 weeks.
Okay.
And honestly, I think most counties do, whether they believe it or not, because you can't have a team of 2 without a team leader. Mm-hmm. So you have to, at some point, teach people to be a team leader, even if you know they're not going to operate as a team leader, because you need that to do the training.
Because they're going in as 2s.
Exactly.
So it's an unspoken reality that you're already suggesting that happen. As they go in, you'll say, right, you're going to stand there, you're going to hold this, you're going to hold that. There's an unspoken, you're the team leader. And it will probably, as even goes to entry control, we do say, right, for this exercise, you're the team leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what's the difference?
We teach entry control as well. So the difference for us is that when they get to the end of pass-outs, we've just had a pass-out parade this last week.
Saw the signs, yeah.
Yeah, so they will be going to station. As soon as they land on station, they will ride as number 2.
Okay.
And that will be what they do until such a point as it's decided that they can now operate as a team leader.
Decided by whom?
So this is the exciting bit, isn't it? So historically we used to do what we called a green spot removal assessment, which I bet a lot of fire services do, where those individuals will come back and then we do a 1-day assessment, pass or fail, and if you pass, you take your green spots off. If you don't...
Do they have to have developed in that old method? Do they have to have had a number of X? Do they have to have a number of hot wares to do that? Do they have to have...
quite loose. So
yes, it kind of needs to be sometimes, because if you're in the bottom end of nowhere at the quietest station in the service, you're going to get the wares. You're city centre, whatever. You've got 6 in your first rotation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The expectation was that they would do a certain amount of development. Now, in the first few years of me sort of coming back to this role, that naturally evolved. So we were doing quite a lot of recruitment, and the first thing that we said was, there's that many people coming through the doors now, as we try to catch up on the recruitment numbers and get the numbers to where the mayor wanted it to be, that we're actually struggling as a team to do these assessments.
You don't want to become an assessment centre.
You don't want to become an
training
assessment centre.
Yeah.
You don't want people tired unnecessarily.
Yep.
So what we said is, well, there may be a better way of doing this. And instead of us just saying, on that one day, if you perform, you get it. We took a decision. So, well, actually, let's look at them over 6 months, over 7 months, over 8 months on station. Let's see how they're getting on. And we brought out 2 things. We brought out the BA competency assessment first, the GMFRS BA competency assessment, and that's got a BA set service, the routine test. You've got to do that. It's got entry control, which was very, very keen to get put in. It had been sort of overlooked in the past, but I think entry control is such a skill, and it can be very, very frightening on your first sort of time you're running a board.
Why do we do entry control?
It's a great question, and that's a podcast in itself, isn't it?
I know, sorry.
That's a podcast in itself.
Only because the one that's probably gone out today with the guys and girls, 6 instructors that over there in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
They obviously don't do entry control.
No.
You've done a lot of travelling. A lot of other places don't do entry control.
Very much they don't, yeah.
Netherlands, and I will misquote this, but people can go back and listen. They have a team of 4.
Yes.
2 people in, 1 person managing hose through snag points and all this sort of jazz, and 1 on door control.
Yeah.
That's their team of 4. Nobody on the entry control, unless the incident commander would like someone there because they have a belief that the crew is a lesser competent crew, there's a lot of new people on it, or it's a super complex incident. But they have no mandate that says they have to. And you say it to them, and it can seem a little bit offensive. No, it doesn't seem offensive. It's just strange to them.
Yeah.
It's not condescending, but they go, so you're watching your air. Wait a minute, I've trained you to watch your air. You do train that, right? Yeah, we train that. We train the turnaround time? Yeah, we train the turnaround time. And it's part of the assessment criteria. They have to manage it. They can't come out they can't pull them out, no air left. No, they have to come out before the whistle. But then you still have someone else look as well? Yeah. Why? Why is the answer we get? And they go, because they're minimum crew in 6. So you ride 4, and one of them has to do the entry control board. And I said, why don't they do door control? We sort of do door control. I mean, we do door assessments. Some people will call it door entry procedures. So I wonder if this should be something related to complexity. Like if we say beyond 6 wearers, you have to use an entry control board. Now, obviously, we'd still be using one because we'd be putting stuff in. But even beyond, because only for us in the UK, rapid deployment's the only time you don't have one. Stage 1, Stage 2, BMA control, everything like that. Everyone's got an entry control officer. Maybe I'm asking for your personal/professional view, or maybe sidestep this altogether. What do you think?
Well,
because it is an important task.
There was Smithfield Market, and it is important to acknowledge loss of life at the incident.
Absolutely.
There were prior incidents at Covent Gardens, 2 incidents, I believe, at Covent Gardens, where again there was either loss of life or as near as damn it.
Paul's Hair World didn't help recently.
Yep.
Not that BA entry control was the main factor that went wrong there, but it was a contributing factor of loss of communication, the fog of the incident ground.
Yep, and I think you can look at incidents, many incidents that have happened in the UK since as well. And the big question I would throw at the value of entry control is the value of telemetry.
Okay.
And I like telemetry. And when we teach telemetry, we say, but what if it fails?
MSA are supporting us on today's podcast, and I chose to partner with them because I've been wearing this stuff for nearly 20 years, and they are the global leader in development, manufacture and supply of incredible safe products that really protect people, not just our communities out there, but also first responders, most importantly, all over the world. Get yourself over to MSA and have a look at it. The high performance protective clothing for emergency services responders. They also partner with us on the UK Pink Firefighters. That's because we love them. The helmets with the reflective visor, the F1XF, absolutely epic helmet. And not forgetting how they improve firefighter safety through their connectivity in the connected firefighter platform. MSA are always pushing the envelope, and it's a real privilege to be able to continue to grow our partnership together. So whether it's your PPE, your bunker gear, your helmets, your SCBA, your thermal imaging, your Luna, or your portable gas detection, both of us know that this equipment needs to work. It needs to be high quality, reliable, and dependable in the moment. And that's why I use MSA, because they know what's at stake.
But we've never asked how often has it failed. Now, I'm not saying it will or won't fail. Obviously, that's a very big question. Mm-hmm. But telemetry and technology, as things like that move on, it allows you flexibility in other areas. So, at the very least, this isn't me sidestepping. It is a bit, but it's not. At the very least, what I would like is for us to, as a fire service, including the union, including everybody, let's look at entry control and ask, in 2025, with the technology that's available to us and with the demands that are placed upon us on the fire ground, what's the best outcome? What's the best solution? Now, it could well be that you could come up with a situation where you could have, I don't know, a team of 4 as your rapid deployment, teams of 6. I mean, effectively now, telemetry means that everyone's on rapid deployment, technically.
Yeah.
Because everyone's being tracked and traced as to when they went in and how much air they've got left.
Yep.
And wouldn't it be nice to be able to pair that with other technology where you've got transmitters, GPS, things like that, so you can actually see where they are? And that's not realms of impossibility. Because
the idea of technology is that it liberates us from some of our cognitive horsepower and automates or simplifies something. Pumps, e-pumps is an example. I'm sure, I'm reaching here, but I'm sure there's historical ways of measuring radiation, but we don't bother with them. We have dosimeters.
Yeah.
And we just go, that works, that'll do.
It's always worked.
Yeah,
it's
so
always
we
worked,
don't
so
go, let's go back to whatever, I don't know how people used to measure radioactivity, but I'll bet there was a really old way of doing it otherwise. But yeah, the fact that we supervise the technology almost suggests we don't trust it a little bit. Because, do you have maps on your trucks anymore?
As in on the
an
actual paper map. Do you know?
I don't think we do.
A good question.
You used to have a lot of ordnance surveys maps on trucks.
We had a geography at one point, which was like reading the Times.
Yeah, exactly. Big thing in the back, someone going, I think it's left, boss.
Yeah, I mean, someone my size reading something like that was very comical.
But now we have MDTs, we have mobile data terminals, we have everything in gazetteers and Google Maps and what 3 words, and everything's in it. And we've just gone, we're not going to keep paying for 37 maps on each truck that need updating every 3 years with a new. We go, that's the technology.
The technology helps, yeah.
So, yeah, I say that only to support your point that I feel like you were making around telemetry. It has its limitations, physical elements of a building, going into a tunnel, whatever it might be. But that's a complex incident. Someone's going into a railway. They're going into a mine.
Yeah.
They're going into an enormous hospital that's also got sources of radiation in it. Complex incident. 2 up, 2 down. They're 20 metres away from me. We've got people working front and back, whatever it might be. Yeah, I just think with all the demands we have, with the wide, complex training profile a firefighter has to sustain.
Yeah.
Let's look at this beautiful place we are now. What have we got? We've got water rescue here. We've got high rise. We've got hazmat. There's railway trucks outside. There's all the tactical firefighting. There's some open water over there. There's RTCs. There's lithium-ion batteries. All of it. Maintain your competence. I just feel like this is another thing that we could get wrong.
There's another element as well that's quite pertinent nowadays. So, certainly in the last sort of year or so, as a region, we've highlighted that sometimes at a cross-border incident, you can place entry control procedures. You know, we're going to go to stage 1, right? That's fine. We put stage 1 in place. We've got 2 counties. And the things that one county might do at stage 1 might not be the same as what another county does at stage 1. So I think the other area I would like to look at with edge control is if it's decided edge control is still required and valid,
It's got to be nationalised.
That's got to be standardised, nationalised. There's got to be...
Because the technology's standardised.
Yeah.
It's just the way we've all decided to interact with it.
Yeah.
Has got a little bit of...
And I think
humans
that's
have
better.
a funny way of meddling with things.
We do. And, I'll go back to 1999 again when I first started, and I posted this the other day on LinkedIn.
It's all right, yeah.
When I first started, it's almost like every fire service had an arm around all the work. I said, you're not copying this, don't look at this. This is our stuff, and our stuff's better than your stuff. And I did have a foot in two camps for a while, so I carried on doing the retained, when I joined the full-time. And in one county, well, you've got to admit, Dave, the directional search pattern is miles better, isn't it? And then you go to the other county, yeah, but you've got to admit, the compartment's miles safer, isn't it? Yeah.
And the answer usually is depends.
Yeah, you're both right.
It depends.
You're both right with the incident you've got in your head.
Yeah.
But guess what? When both of you turn out, you do the same thing, which is you don't do the shuffle and you don't do a pattern. But by all means, let's protect the thing that our own county says we should be doing.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting when you start dabbling in regionalisation, standardisation, nationalisation, all these things. And that's where I'm quite pleased as a region. We're quite good, or certainly we're getting better. So I know. Regional
work sounds obvious.
Yeah.
But a lot of places, I find it surprising that Manchester are so involved in regional work, not because they don't care, but because they're so big. You're the second biggest in the UK now, I think, aren't you?
Yes, we are now, yes.
So you could, these are my words, not yours, you could fall foul of a Londonism and go, I'll do my own thing, Gav. And then everyone else just goes, oh, what do they do? I don't know, it's their own thing, got a special different word for it. You're big enough just to do your own thing, if you wanted to. And there's lots of great people in London, we've had lots of them on, they're great. But you're engaging heavily in regional work.
Massively, yes.
That usually is a smaller brigadism, serviceism, where there's several shires, neither of which is big enough. You told me earlier there's 100 staff in the training department, something like that? 50 ops, least, 50 support or something?
At least, yeah.
People hearing that will just think, oh my God, the world's your oyster. I'm sure you've got a beautiful incident command suite. We've just had a look around. Some of these things are a liberty of size, and when small services are smaller, they tend to do more regional working, regional shared resources, HR, whatever. Why does Manchester seem to care so much about that when you could just ignore the opinions of other organisations and crack on?
So, I know in 2019, it was actually 2018. 2018, we had the Moorland fires. We had 2 Moorland fires simultaneously. One Moorland fire of that size is hard enough, and to have 2 going on at the same time was extremely difficult, and that needed a lot of coordinated work in particular. So there was us in Lancashire predominantly with the shared borders that we have working very closely, but then you've got all the other counties that work around us as well. And I'm quite certain as well that I remember it was that busy around here that I'm sure I turned out to an incident in Manchester with Leicester. I'm quite certain I did. I'm sure the appointments that came towards me, Leicestershire,
really? Good Lord.
And that's how far the resources were being brought in, because it was so protected. And these incidents then do start to beg the question, but if you've got your way of doing things and we've got our way of doing things, it starts to get in the way of actually doing the job. So when I took this role on a couple of years later, I was asked, would you be interested in setting up a Northwest NFCC-backed regional BA training managers group? Why not? So we did do. We got involved, particularly with Cumbria, Cheshire, Merseyside, Lancashire, and ourselves. Recently, looking now at Isle of Man, Northern Ireland, and hopefully Scotland as well to bring that together. Maybe even some of the industrial fire service, but certainly in the early days that was us. And as I say, it was NFCC backed. It feeds into the parent group, which is the training managers group in the Northwest as well.
What does NFCC backed mean? You are the NFCC.
It's got the NFCC on all the paperwork, so.
Because we speak to a lot of NFCC representatives. I'm the lead for this, I'm the lead for that. I think it's mandatory that they have to take on a reference when they get in the senior leadership team. If you look down the website of the NFCC, there's lots of senior leaders have all got a reference.
Yeah.
But they do that on top of their normal job. I feel like Justin has been one of the few, and I'm sure I'm probably wrong, but he's retired now, and he's going to do that full time. I think before, the chairs of the NFCC were still serving. So I think people look at the NFCC sometimes and I think it doesn't have teeth because it is very resource low, because these people are doing this as a bolt-on to part of their normal role. So I say that with respect to say it's great to have the National Fire Chief Council's backing with certain elements, because they feed in and do nog and all that jazz, which most of us try and look at. Not a great website. They've got to sort that out. Sidebar. So who is the national lead?
So the national lead for training now should be Nick Smith, the
Merseyside.
Is it West Yorkshire now?
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of Nick Searle. I think he's the deputy in Merseyside. Or I might just become, he's not the chief in Merseyside. Might be a dep now. Anyway.
Yeah. So prior to that, it was our chief, Dave Russell.
Yeah. Phil Garrigan. That's who I'm thinking of. Correct myself. Justin hasn't done it. Phil Garrigan is the new head of the NFCC. Apologies, Phil and Justin. Justin's great. Justin's ex-Lancashire. Phil Garrigan is now the new lead, and I think Nick Searle is the new chief of Merseyside. Ignore me. So the new head of training, or the head of training for it is, who, sorry?
Nick Smith.
Nick Smith.
Yeah.
Where's he from?
West Yorkshire.
Okay.
And I will check that.
Okay.
Just to be absolutely
listeners, forgive us if we've got
West
it wrong. So what does he actually do you think? Not as in he doesn't do anything, but is the idea that as this regional group for you guys and girls, you'll feed and advise, do you report in any agreed learnings, operational tactics?
Yeah, so the edge control thing's a good example that that got fed down from our group manager at the time to our group to look at that. So our intent as a region is we're going to have a day where we bring appliances from all the counties that we can do, and we're just going to turn out to scenarios, edge control, 2 counties. Please go and mess that incident up as best as you can.
Yeah.
And that is the intent, is go in there and cause as much of a problem as you can, argue as much as you can about whose policies are better and whose aren't, so that we can write furiously down and say, here's all the problems that's likely to cause an obstacle at a fire operationally. So if we can do it in the training environment, eventually we can come up with the ways of working together operationally.
It is beyond a privilege to be able to bring the Firefighters podcast to you, and we are so grateful for every single person that supports, listens, shares and follows our journey. But here's the honest truth. It takes a colossal amount of time and work to keep the podcast going. And to help us keep doing it, create more, reach more guests internationally, and make the podcast sustainable, we're asking for you to help. And to do this, we've set up a Patreon page. Now, by joining this, you'll not only support the future of the podcast, but also gain access to exclusive benefits. Now, if you've ever wanted to meet a member of the podcast, buy us a beer, buy us a coffee, and you think anything you've ever listened to on the podcast has been worth £3, that's basically what we're asking you for. By joining our Patreon community, you will get access to every single full episode archive we have ever made. Now, hundreds and hundreds of key documents that we've got in there on fire behaviour, firefighter health, cancer risks, instant debriefs, and so much more. A growing collection of valuable resources to help you learn and grow. Your support in whatever way, dropping it in the WhatsApp group, sharing it on the local newsletter, whatever it is, it's incredibly valuable, and we really do support it, and we need it to make it a long-lasting resource, that legacy resource we always talk about for first responders, firefighters, and everybody everywhere who's ever been interested in joining the fire service. Now, if you're already supporting something, as many people do, it's totally cool. You can still access the podcast for free, and you'll always be able to access all the new episodes for free, but we're asking for your help to make this sustainable. And we want to keep growing, we want to keep sharing the insights, and we want to keep showcasing the incredible work happening in our community and our sector. So if you feel like you want to join the Patreon crew and help us make this possible, head to patreon.com/TFFPC or check the link in any episode podcast notes.
A good example of that, one that we've already looked into, is the briefing and debriefing models. So briefing models in Manchester, we did have one called Chores, and we've changed to one called iRescue. So Chores, without going into it too deeply, had the S of Chores was search pattern, which required you to detail to your team a search pattern. Now, my question, when I raise this with our steering group here, is what if you don't want to detail a search pattern? What if you're not searching because you know where the fire is? You don't want a search pattern. In that case, you want to do what we're now calling a targeted brief, which is get from here to there in that manner and complete the objective. So that's why we looked at moving to iRescue, because that's what Merseyside and Cheshire, they're using briefing models based on iRescue. So already we've got the first steps towards a little bit of standardisation, and the hope is that in the future maybe other counties will follow suit.
Put you on the spot. What's iRescue?
Excellent question.
You have a second to think about it.
I've got a little thing, yeah.
It's been a while for me.
I know, yeah. So identification is the first one, and that is Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3. R is root or reason. So that is the key change from search pattern. I might detail to you, you're Alpha 1, I would like you to do fire attack.
Okay.
So I don't need to tell you how to get to the fire, because part of our training this year actually tells people how to find a fire. We got some really good stuff from the trainers at West Midlands that showed you how to follow the convection paths and everything, the good training videos, all the flow paths, and we were able to record our own versions of it using the venues that we've got here. So we're teaching that to crews, that if you're fire attack, as an incident commander, I might not know where the fire is. I've got a good idea, but if I say follow a left hand, that might take you well away.
I was about to say the old thing where we take that agency away from the crews is, right, I'm going to send you on a left-hand search because I believe from the information I've gathered from the owner and looking at next door, I think the kitchen is there, so I'm sending you on a left. And you would hear reports every now and again of someone that didn't feel they had the conviction to go, I've just walked past a room on the right with a fire in it, but the boss said left-hand. And you're like, what? And you go, that's where you fall into common sense. And someone goes, well, no, don't give me common sense. You told me to go left. And if I'd have broken away from that brief, who am I to know whatever? I didn't know if you weren't sending somebody in the right as well, so what do I know? But like you say, if you say direct to the seat of the fire, route to the fire attack, whatever the terminology might be,
yes,
it gives. But that also relies upon a training of things like flow paths.
Yes.
So that people know how to use thermal imagery and other technology appropriately, rather than just, when I get to the seat of fire, I'll see the fire, I'll see a casualty. It can be a technology that aids you throughout the entirety of that wear.
And that nicely plants the acorn for later when we discuss why we call tactical firefighting training not BA training.
Indeed.
But I'm sure we'll come back to that.
R is root.
Yeah, root and reason. Yeah, so why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it? Yeah, why I want you to go there.
So E is equipment. Equipment's relatively easy normally, isn't it? Because
take this.
Take that. You've got a hose reel in your hand, take that, or size it up.
Radio, thermal imaging camera, whatever.
Exactly. S is specific hazards.
Okay. Holes in the floor, dangling electrics.
If there are any, there might not be.
Heat and fire, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
There's going to be smoke issuing, whatever.
Yeah. C is comms, so radio. What channel are you on? How are we going to communicate? Is your telemetry working, etc. So I've managed to get it written down in front of me now. So, U is understanding, and that is a key one for me.
Confirm
Repeat it back. Tell me what I've told you. And that's something that's been missed out in some of the briefs in the past. We just hope you remember to repeat your brief. And then finally, emergency and welfare arrangements. So what have we put in place that if something goes wrong, or if when
rendezvous point is here, if I call a mass evacuation, it's going to be continuous blows over the radio. We're going to it's going to go off on your set. We're going to do a full evacuation, all that sort of jazz.
And doesn't it flow well, that, compared to some of the other briefing methods that you may have heard? It just seems to flow so nicely, and that's one of the things that we really liked about it.
Some I've seen. They still give so there's one in a lot of the services, just SMEAC one, which is situation, hazards, mission, execution, ask questions, confirm understanding. And they always start with the situation, because some feedback that I've heard you get into apathy, or you get into over familiarity when you've been at an incident for a while, don't you? And then the sixth crew turns up. You've been incident commander in your sector for ages. There's an assumed knowledge, and you don't give, myself included, we don't give as detailed as a brief as we did to the first crew, because we're kind of used to it now. We've started to give, everyone knows what's going on. This crew doesn't. So that first element of situation, which is, this is a house fire consisting of 2 floors, mid-terrace. There's 3 crews in already, da-da-da-da-da. Quick situation. Hazards. Mission, mission is you're going to do fire attack, or mission is firefighting, search and rescue. How are you going to do that? Execution. This is how I want you to do it. This is what you're going to do. This is how I want you to do it. Ask questions, confirm understanding. Again, not perfect, and there is a few elements in there that I quite prefer and like. But I think there's a bigger conversation sometimes to be had around, because you see this in handovers, incident commander, handover, losing information.
Yeah.
Situational awareness starts to slip. So yeah, I don't know, but situation is sometimes one that I like about certain of the methods. So that's one standard. How do we get to our rescue?
Right, let's go back.
We're talking about regional.
Regional.
We're talking about an example of when everyone gets on the scene and they start doing something a little bit differently. So
and that's part of what the regional group is trying to look at is how do we make these cross-border incidents work better? How do we make sure that a firefighter in Cumbria is doing the same as a firefighter in Cheshire or as near as? Because that's something that we said earlier, isn't it? The science of a fire is no different. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. The fire is always going to be the fire. The fire is generally going to do or develop in the same ways it would do based on what is in the room and what's available to it. And yet the way we approach it is fundamentally different. An interesting thing to bring back to, if we think about the lessons that we learnt from Blaina, the lesson that Manchester as an organisation took was anti-ventilation.
Ooh,
Prevent ventilation, reduce the heat release rate. So it's Thornton's law, and I think it's around about 14.1 megajoules per kilogram of oxygen introduced, and that is a fundamental, that is always the same. The fire can, in essence, burn hotter. I don't really like that as a term, but it makes it a bit easier to understand. But
heat release rate.
Yeah, with more oxygen that goes in, the more heat that will come out of it. But it is always constant. It is always constant based on kilograms of oxygen going in.
Where do you think Braidwood got this from? Because it was in his books.
Oh, yeah.
It's the brief he used to give to police officers, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He would say, you're probably, because they're on the beat, they walk around, whereas firefighters back then were all on call. They would run from the bakery, get the thing, roll it down, he'll arrive at the thing. Yeah. But he would say to police officers, if you get there before us, try not to go in, because you probably might die. I've had a few of our police officers die. Close all the doors and windows if you can, please. Because I think it says it's like, fire will grow in direct correlation to the amount of air given to it. That is the way he terms it. How much do you write down of stuff you observe? Much? I don't write down much.
No.
So do you imagine how much he didn't write down? And I'm not saying he was the god of anything, but we only take the stuff he wrote down. Imagine all the stuff we didn't write down. I don't write much stuff down.
But it was a fantastic observation, wasn't it?
It was a fantastic observation. I wonder maybe it was just an observation that he took that from. But it's one of the things that has stood the test of time. When it collides with science, it has proven itself to be accurate. So talk to me about anti-ventilation. Is that taught in tactical firefighting for firefighters now? We're going to get on into incident command in a minute. So I'll pin that in there for that as well.
It's a key element for this year's training that we're delivering is just covering anti-ventilation, covering ventilation as a whole, but covering our primary approach to consider anti-ventilation and close things down. Now, other counties' lessons from the Blaina incident was that door slammed on the hose, so let's wedge the door open. So actually, they took an absolutely opposite approach. So you can see you've then got counties.
You see how they got there, though?
Absolutely, and again,
I want the firefighters to maintain their egress route.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't get trapped.
Yeah, and again, this isn't a criticism of individual processes or procedures, but it's interesting how you can have the same observation and come to a vastly different conclusion with vastly different implications for the fire and the fire development.
I always say sometimes you can get confused with symptoms and causes. So like them getting trapped inside by the door slamming was a symptom. It wasn't the cause. But if you treat, this is what we do in doctors, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not NHS. NHS is great, sort of. But we treat symptoms.
Yeah.
You've got a cold, take some drugs. They won't say, have you drank enough water today, have you got enough sleep, which might be the cause, and whatever you're doing in your environment means you've got a cold. I think sometimes, as an example there, we're treating a cause. I'll tell you what, we'll wedge all the doors, because then they'll definitely be able to get out.
Yeah.
Which might help with that one symptom, but I always say there's no solutions, only trade-offs.
Yeah.
So you've done one thing and created another problem, not maliciously, by accident. It just happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get caught in a trap of forever trying to treat the next thing that
Further
you've created,
symptoms.
rather than going back to the beginning.
back.
And again, bringing this back to this year's training that we're delivering with our firefighters in Manchester, the primary lesson that we're telling people is the cause of pretty much everything that is going to likely to go wrong at that incident is the fire. You're employed as a firefighter.
It's losing the name.
Yes, here's a weird one. Why don't we put the fire out?
So it says fire and rescue. Yeah. Fire's the bit for the combine harvester analogy.
Yeah. And I love
Put
that
the combine harvester out rather than searching for the child amongst the hay, the straw, whatever it is. Put the fire out.
And I take on board. There's a lot of concerns and worries people have got. Well, the smoke, that's being generated. If you're closing doors down, it's pushing the smoke layers down. Absolutely,
all true.
And we have to think about all these things. But if you put the fire out, the smoke isn't being generated. If you put the fire out, the heat isn't being generated. It's best for everybody. It's best
if this room was flooding with water because of a burst water pipe, what's the first thing you'd do?
Turn the water
off.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go, quick, everybody grab a squeegee and let's go hell for leather.
Yeah, grab a bucket
And someone grab some blankets.
Yeah.
The first priority would be someone switch that tap off. Yeah, let's just get down in the hole and get the stop tap.
Yeah. It's risk assessment 101, isn't it?
Pause there.
Well, that's it for today, folks. Hope you took a lot away from that episode. We started the Firefighters podcast to develop, inspire, connect, motivate, represent, and most importantly, celebrate the world of incredible emergency services operators and the wider sector through this series of wide-ranging conversations. We really love creating this podcast and bringing it to so many people. Did you know you can also find these on YouTube? We do a lot of video podcasts now. You can head over to our YouTube page and follow, subscribe there. And as a final ask from us, whatever platform you're on, please rate the podcast. It really helps us as a key performance indicator to reach more and more people. I've been your host, Pete Wakefield. This has been the Firefighters Podcast. And wherever you are in the world, please stay safe, be happy, live with intention, and where possible, please remember and support your firefighters and first responders. I'll see you next time.